Hello, how are you? My name is Amy, for those who don't know, and I'm a holistic wellness coach. And I'm here to provide you with practical tips to help you on your wellness journey without the woo. So I'm not here to tell you to buy the latest crystal filter for your water and stuff like that. It's all practical tips. And today, the topic is mastering mindful eating for a healthier relationship with food. And I've got my notes. I'm going to be just referring to them every now and again. The reason I'm doing this is mindful eating. It is quite close to my heart because it's something that we do from birth. It's an innate thing that we should be able to do. And through good intentions or otherwise, we tend to get kind of trained out of it. And then we go through all these different diets under the sun to try and control our weight, control our body and how it reacts to food, when really, if we just nurtured and nourished our mindfulness and how we connect to how we eat and what our body wants, then we wouldn't be in such a big, confusing mess that we are right now. So that's the reason why we're doing this. And this talk today is to aim to help you to learn some tools, to learn some ways to start incorporating mindful eating into your life, and to hopefully build a positive relationship with your food and how you eat and your body overall. That's the goal in life, isn't it? So what is mindful eating? It's a practice that, and I like to say practice because we're always learning, but it's a practice that stems from paying full attention to the food that you eat. And it's not just the food. Say I've got water, it's not just going, water. Ooh, I feel it going down my throat. It's not that you don't have to go that deep into it, but it's about paying attention to the food you're eating, along with, it kind of goes hand in hand with intuitive eating, paying attention to your hunger and fullness cues, paying attention to the taste, the texture, and just slowing down, because we do rush a lot. So the key elements of mindful eating, they include savoring the food. They include eating with awareness, listening to your body, non-judgmental observations. So if you've got a piece of cake in front of you, not putting any bad connotations on that piece of cake, but enjoying the cake for what it is in the grand scheme of a nourishing whole diet. And it's about reducing distractions as well. I'm going to take another sip. And the benefits that you can find when you are practicing mindful eating is you might end up actually losing weight. A lot of people think if you are eating whatever you want within this mindful eating framework, that you're just going to pile on the pounds and you'll end up bigger than you want to be, which is why you diet, because you want to lose weight. Yeah, makes sense. So mindful eating can be a bit scary, but you can actually manage your weight a lot better with mindful eating than with diets. It can cause you to change your portion sizes because you're paying more attention to what you're eating. You end up eating less. It improves digestion. So when we are chewing, Our digestion starts in our mouth. So you've got your saliva, which has enzymes in it. And when you are chewing, when you're thinking about something tasty, I mean, just talking about food, my mouth is watering. Your mouth is getting ready to start breaking down that food. And by eating mindfully and slowing down the process of eating, you are chewing it more, you're breaking it down. So the food should be a mush before you swallow it. We shouldn't really be swallowing whole chunks, because if we have the mush in our mouth, then the saliva is getting in there, the enzymes are getting in there, and it's starting that digestive process. And then we swallow some of that saliva with the food, and then the stomach does the job of starting to break it down even further. But it's not necessarily the stomach's job to break down chunks. And that's when we can get buildup of extra acid, because it's really trying to work hard. So mindful eating can improve digestion. And it can help balance nutrition. Because you're being more aware of what you're eating, you're probably being more aware of the types of food you're eating and how you want to nourish your body more. If you live off of takeaways, you might start noticing that actually I'm kind of bored of this food. My mouth wants something different. It wants something fresh. It wants something crunchy. It wants something soft. It wants something different. It wants something sweet. It wants something salty. You know how you can have something salty and then you want something sweet to balance it out? It's kind of that thing. And I know I've been doing this throughout my life. I've kind of been that awkward person who always leaves stuff at the dinner table and always takes way too long. It's just something I've never been able to get out of. And yeah, I kind of noticed that after a while my mouth just gets bored of it. I've had enough. I'm not necessarily hungry anymore. My mouth's bored. I'm not going to eat anymore. I might try something different. I might have room for dessert, but I'm bored of that thing. So it helps you to be aware of the foods that you're eating as well, rather than just rushing down. It can help with mental health as well. So those are some physical aspects of mindful eating. But mental health, it can help with stress reduction. If you're sitting and being aware of what you're eating and eating slowly and taking the time to eat the food, if you've set that time aside, which I'll talk about in a sec, it will calm you down because you're eating in a calm environment with no distractions. So it can help to reduce the stress response, which in turn again helps with digestion. It can help you to feel satisfied with what you're eating rather than eating to a point of being stuffed. It can help you understand what satisfaction feels like, and it tunes you in to your body. We all need a better mind-body connection, and that's what I teach a lot of my clients. It's all about mind-body connection. They're talking to each other all the time, and this just helps to improve that communication, get the family talking to each other again. So how can you incorporate mindfulness into your meals? I've started to touch on it already, and please let me know if you do have any questions. Pop them in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later, and I will either answer it at the end of this video or I will reply to your comments. Okay, so just remember that if you have any questions coming up. So yeah, how to incorporate mindfulness into your meals. So create a calm environment. That could be removing distractions. It is hard if you live with people who have to have the TV on during dinner, or if you're in an open plan environment, it is quite easy to leave the TV playing, and that's distraction there is going to take you away from the meal. I'm not saying you have to eat in complete isolation. Engage in the conversation of the table, but having something on the TV that you're just kind of zoning out, or even having something stressful on TV if you're watching the news, that's going to affect how much you eat and how your body digests the food. So then when you've got no distractions, so get your phone, take your phone away, leave it in the other room, you engage your senses. So notice the flavors, notice the colors, notice the textures of the food, the smells of the food. My husband baked some bread last night and it was like, just had to have a taste of it. I had to experience that amazing smell that was coming through. So there's that. Expressing gratitude. And I don't mean just saying grace. Like, there will be some people of faith who will say grace, who will thank their God before they start to eat. But even just thanking the person who made the meal, thanking yourself if you made the meal, thanking the fact that you can fuel your body and the nourishment that your body is about to receive. Just taking that in and going, yeah, my body is going to be so thankful for this food right now. And that just takes time as well. If you are a person who feels like you have to finish what's on your plate, take a little bit less, put it on your plate, and again, no distractions. Enjoy what you've got, savor the flavor and the smell and the look of it. And if after you finish, pause, you can always go back for more. Okay? But maybe take smaller portions if you feel like you have to finish what's on your plate. And with that, pausing between bites, so you don't have to have your knife and fork in your hand and cutting up the next piece while you're chewing the first one. Just place your knife and fork down on your plate, beside your plate, chew, get in the moment, and then go back for more. You can always cut and prepare, but just let go of your cutlery. And I mentioned chewing slowly as well. Oops, spilling my water. Check in as you're going. So I mentioned about mindful portioning. Check in as you're going, and this kind of teams in with intuitive eating. If you check into how hungry you're feeling throughout the meal, then you will be more likely to stop earlier. If you go, yeah, no, I've had enough. If I have what's left, I will be uncomfortable. Then by knowing that beforehand, you won't get to that point. Unless you like that feeling, and then that's something that maybe you need to check on and check in with why that is and what, sort that out. So it sounds easy enough, but I do get clients who kind of butt up against me with some challenges that they have, like the TV's always on, I can't do it. You can, if you're really trying to eat mindfully and say your partner or your kids refuse to have the TV off, then sit somewhere else and send that message. You might end up with some disagreements, but sit somewhere else. If you really want to focus on your meal and what you're doing for yourself, then go somewhere else. If it means sitting in a different room or sitting outside, then that is your choice to make. Some challenges that I have heard as well is you're too busy. You're too busy to sit down and slow down when you're eating. You're eating on the go. You're standing up, trying to multitask while you're eating breakfast in the morning. If the best thing is to just take your time. I know I know you said you're busy, and sorry, I got a bit distracted then. People started talking in the background. Um, Set specific meal times, plan it into your day, have a routine. Routines are brilliant. So I know I get up in the morning and my toddler might be asleep, in which case I'll make our breakfast then, or when she's awake, we sit down together. Still a bit distracting because I've got to sort her out at the same time, but I make a point of sitting down with her to eat. Another challenge, again, I've mentioned before, is external distractions. If you notice that you are maybe sitting and eating food on your lap in front of the TV, have you got a separate dining space that you can use where you can't see the TV? Can you have a designated box for your cell phones so they don't come and migrate to the table? What can you put into place to remove as many distractions as possible? And if you're at lunch at work and you're eating at your desk, can you make time to go, right, I need to get up for my mental health as well as physical health. I need to get up away from this computer and step somewhere else, go to the lunchroom, go sit outside, go to a cafe and eat somewhere else that's not at your desk in front of the computer. Snacking. A lot of people might have trouble with snacking mindlessly. I know it's easy to have the set dinner times and everything, but then you might grab some chocolates and sit on the couch and you eat it, especially watching movies. If you ever bought a big pack of popcorn, big tub of popcorn from the movie theatre, if you can afford that nowadays, and you just sat and ate the whole lot. If you sat there and you were just eating the popcorn and doing absolutely nothing else, would you have still eaten all of that popcorn? Like, if I was just sitting there and all I had to do was eat my popcorn, I'd be pretty bored by a quarter of the way through. I'd be like, yeah, all right, I've had enough. Now what? Can I go do something else now? So notice things like that. So maybe what you can do is pre-portion your snacks, and say if it is a block of chocolate, break off the chocolate. If it is popcorn, make the popcorn, portion it into little Tupperware, put the others away for another night, and have that to snack on. So you've still got your snack, you can still enjoy your snack, but you're not mindlessly eating the whole lot. So think about what you would eat if you were sitting there just doing that and thinking about it and enjoying it, versus how much you'd eat if you were sitting in front of a movie. I know I could quite easily get through a whole pack of popcorn or a whole bar of chocolates, whole pack of biscuits quite easily if I wasn't thinking about it and it was just there. So that's another problem. The other distraction that people often say is they don't know how to connect to their body. And this goes again into with intuitive eating, but a great tip that I learned from somebody else, I can't remember the name, it was rate your hunger. So when you start, or just before you start eating, rate your hunger. How hungry are you between 1 and 5? 5 being not really hungry, not really full. 1 being I'm absolutely starving. I could eat a horse. Then when you are eating, and I mentioned about checking in before, think about your body, have a check-in, and think, right now, between 5 and 10, am I neither hungry or full, or am I completely stuffed? And ideally, so when you're thinking about hunger, aim for about a 3. When you're thinking about how full you are, aim for about a 7 when you're checking in. So you're full enough, but you're not stuffed, and you're not in between. That is a great tip that I really, really, really like, and I use a lot with my clients ever since I heard it. I just love it. So that's it. I have got a few questions that I wanted to go through. I've written them down because these were I posted in my group the other day, and I've posted in other places as well. So first question was, what is the difference between mindful eating and intuitive eating? I have touched on this, but the first one, so mindful eating is paying attention to the meal at hand, the food that you're eating at the time. Intuitive eating is paying attention to your body overall. So paying attention to your hunger cues and fullness cues and seeing how you actually feel within yourself. The next question was, how do I start? Where do I even start with mindful eating? I think the best way to start is to slow down. And it's in her bag. So just slow down. That's probably the best thing to do. Slow down the chewing, pay attention to the texture and the taste in your mouth, and aim to get a smooth paste. And then swallow. So that's probably the best tip that I can give for starting off. Next question was, is it suitable for everyone? And the answer is emphatically yes. Yes, it is. And the reason is because it's something we should be doing still. Babies are born with it. I read a lot of baby books while I was pregnant, and I was breastfeeding. And of course, you can't measure how much a baby feeds when they're breastfeeding. They feed until they stop. And then if they want more, they'll feed later. It's not until we start solids that parents kind of worry that their child isn't eating enough, but they knew how much they wanted to eat when they were breastfeeding. So why do we try and push them to finish the plate? Remember, our stomach is about the size of our fist. So imagine a toddler's hand is a lot smaller than that. Imagine it's like the size of that. And we try and get them to eat a whole heap. If they don't want it, they don't want it. They'll come back to it later. So yeah, it is suitable for everyone. And it doesn't matter if you've got any particular dietary requirements. You can be mindful about whatever it is that you eat. And yeah. Also, it's not a diet. It's not a diet. It's a way of life. It's a way of eating. It's a way of nourishing your body. And it's, I want to note as well, because I mentioned cake before, it's not about good or bad food. It's separating food from morality. It's just tuning in to the food that you're eating, and hopefully that will build a better relationship with the food, the body, and the mind overall, which is my goal. If you want to learn more, I have my anti-diet club is taking on members at the moment. So I'll pop a link in the description below and you can check that out. We go through so much more, because mindful eating is basically the tip of the iceberg. We're going to look at stress and sleep and a whole host of lifestyle situations that often bring us drama and troubles and things that we struggle with, which all relate to how we eat and our relationship with food. So if you enjoyed that, please do like and subscribe to learn more. I will post more videos in the future, and any questions you have, please do pop them in the comments, and share this video if you thought it was useful and you would like to share it with anybody else. So that's it from me. I've been Amy. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you in the next video.